All right, dude, I'm just going to say it. Everything feels like a scam now. Every bill, every checkout screen, every email that starts with, "We value you." Scam, scam, scam with a logo.
Okay, hold on. Scam is a strong word. Inflation happens, dude. Supply chains broke. COVID messed a lot of things up. You can't just...
Explain away record corporate profits while people can't afford eggs. I know. I've read the script too, dude.
I'm just saying that it's more complicated than evil corporations rubbing their hands together.
Is it though? Because corporations said inflation raised prices 30%, paid workers 3% raises, then announced record profits and stock buybacks. That's not complicated, dude. That's a mugging with a PowerPoint.
Okay, but companies had increased costs.
And increased margins, dude. Don't skip that part. Revenue up, profits up, CEO bonuses up. Workers told to be grateful. It's inflation for you, celebrations for them.
You do realize that in 1960s, companies were dealing with global markets, religions, and
yet somehow built highways, went to the moon, and supported families on one income. Weird how that worked out when shareholders weren't treated like gods.
Okay, dude, you're romanticizing the past.
No, I'm doing math. There's a big difference. Houses cost 2 times the income back then. Now it's 6 times. Wages jogged. Prices took steroids. That's not nostalgia, dude. That's theft with branding.
So what? You think this is all intentional or something?
No, I think the system didn't break. It got optimized. Optimized to extract value from people while convincing them that it's their fault for ordering coffee.
You sound like you're about to blame politics.
No, politics is just a distraction, dude. The real party is corporate profit. And guess what? We're not invited.
So what exactly are you saying?
I'm saying if everything feels fake, rigged, overpriced, and insulting, it's because it is, dude. And this time, I've got receipts.
Yeah, okay. The math is uncomfortable.
Exactly, dude. Now welcome to The Wit Show, where smart meets stupid and somehow makes sense. My name's Georgie, and I'm thinking out loud so you don't have to.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Wit Show, from what I think seriously to you.
WITS, The Wit Show.
Cool story, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Wit Show. Thank you so much for joining me every single week when I post these new episodes at 7 a.m. I couldn't do it without you, and your views really are important to me. So with that being said, today's sponsor is very special, a very special sponsor today. That's right, today's episode is sponsored by me. Yeah, that's right, me. I'm sponsoring myself today because why the hell not? No corporate overload, no awkward read, no use my code for 30% off your dignity. Just me, funding my own nonsense like a responsible adult. Allegedly. I was thinking about doing a sponsor, and then I realized something. I already put in the work. I already pay for the equipment. I already lose sleep editing, and I already show up every week. So yeah, I decided to invest in the most reliable brand I know. Myself. Low overhead, questionable decisions, but unmatched commitment. So, this episode is proudly brought to you by unpaid labor, sarcasm, caffeine, and the burning desire to say things out loud most people are too polite to touch. No shareholders, no board meetings, just vibes and bad financial choices. That being said, if you're enjoying this episode, congratulations! You're supporting independent content, independent thought, and an independent man slowly yelling into a microphone. And if you don't like it, that's fine too. I already got paid by me. And I am not cheap. Now roll it, Jarvis.
This episode's sponsored by me. No codes, no deals, just raw honesty. No suits, no fees, no corporate leash. Just bad ideas and a mic and me. I pay myself, yeah, that's the flex. 0% off, zero regrets. Oh, if you like this show, congratulations. You're supporting independent frustration. Sponsored by me. Hey! Because why the hell not?
You are so welcome for that one. All right, now let's talk about inflation for a second, because the math is actually insulting. In 1960, the average home cost about $11,900. Today, it's $420,000 plus. That's roughly 35 times more expensive. Cool, love that. Meanwhile, minimum wage went from $1 an hour to $7.25. So wages went up about 7 times, homes went up 35 times, and somehow the official advice is still, have you tried not being poor? Like, wow, thank you, Professor Economics. I never considered skipping coffee and magically manifesting a house. Median household income back then was around $5,600 a year. Today, it's about $75,000. That's about a 13 times increase. Still, not even remotely close to housing costs. So even if you do everything right, the math still looks at you and says, get absolutely wrecked. Now here's the part that really fries my brain. In the 1960s, with no internet, no smartphones, no Google, no AI, no cloud computing, we put a human being on the moon. The moon! I know what you're thinking. Well, there's a conspiracy behind it. Okay, yes, we'll cover that in another episode, but for this episode, with computers weaker than my microwave and calculations done with slide rules, they built the interstate highway system, made massive medical breakthroughs, laid infrastructures that's still holding together today, and now, in the most technologically advanced freaking era in human history, we can't keep websites running for 12 minutes without it crashing. Incredible downgrade. Truly inspiring. We went from giant leap for mankind to sorry for the inconvenience. And before anybody gets offended, I'm not saying people today are dumber. Although, if the shoe fits, lace it up. What we are is distracted, burned out, and mentally framed like free-range data cattle. I mean, the average person spends about 7 to 9 hours a day staring at a screen, reading less, focusing less, and somehow we're being told this is progress. Our freaking attention span is shorter than a TikTok intro, and we're wondering why nothing meaningful gets built anymore? Turns out it's hard to change the world when your brain is constantly being tickled by notifications like a digital slot machine. So yeah, this isn't progress, it's just shinier stress. We didn't lose intelligence, we lost direction. They built the future, we argue in comment sections. If we could go to the moon in the 1960s, why does life feel harder now? And don't worry, I'm sure the solution is in another app. Maybe a subscription somewhere or a reminder email explaining how this is actually good for us. The math shouldn't make you feel uncomfortable. You want a list? Well, here's a list of then versus now. The average home price in the 1960s was about $11,900. The average home price today, $420,000 plus. Then you got your home price to income ratio, right? In the 1960s, it was times 2. Home price to income ratio now, it's 5 to 6 times. The average rent in the 60s, $71 a month. The average rent now, $1,300 to $1,600 a month. Mortgage interest rates in the 1960s, 6%. Mortgage rate interest rates now, 6 to 7%. Same interest, widely different principle. Cool system, bro. Oh, but what about the wages? Well, federal minimum wage in the 1960s was $1 an hour. Federal minimum wage now, $7.25. To buy a house in the 1960s, all you needed was about 2 to 3 years worth of wages. Nowadays, it's 8 to 10 plus years of wages. Your public education tuition in the 1960s was like $240 a year. Nowadays, it's $10,000 plus a year. College tuition increased 40 times. Median income increased 13 times. Student loan debt, basically non-existent. Student loan debt now, $1.7 trillion. That's trillion with a T. College grads living with their parents in the 60s, it was rare. College grads living with their parents now, it's actually pretty common. Now let's talk about freaking new car prices back in the 60s. It was about $2,700 for a car, a new car. Nowadays, $48,000 plus, and that's for like your most basic model. Cars per household in the 60s was 1 car, typically. Cars per household nowadays, it's 2, but that's obviously because of the basic commuting hell. Like, you're not going to drive your wife to work and then drive yourself to work. You're typically just going to both take your own car. Oh, but your gas prices in the 60s, the average was 31 cents a gallon. Gas prices now, $3.50 plus per gallon. And that's depending on politics or what's going on in the economy at the moment. And speaking of the economy, let's talk about healthcare. In the 60s, it was 5%. Healthcare now, 18% increase. Health insurance complexity in the 1960s was minimal. Health insurance complexity now, bureaucratic nightmare. It's a maze. Medical debt in the 60s was rare. Medical debt now, it's the leading cause of bankruptcy. Let's talk about hidden fees and subscriptions now. Back in the 60s, there was almost none. Hidden fees and subscriptions nowadays, they're everywhere. Average monthly subscriptions now, 4 to 8 per household. In the 60s equivalent, literally nothing. In the 60s, you didn't need a credit score for anything. Like, it wasn't a requirement. Nowadays, it determines your entire existence. You can't buy a house or a car without it. Because, well, I mean, the price of everything is ridiculous and you basically need a loan for everything. Your average screen time nowadays is 7 to 9 hours a day. That's huge. In the 60s, TV only had limited channels. The average attention span is 8 seconds. The 60s, long form reading and conversations was common. You went to your neighbors and you hung out and you gossiped about what Susie was doing down the street. They had freaking book clubs. They had book clubs in those weird freaking Tupperware meetings for women who were not employed because they didn't need to be, because you could survive off of one income for the household. And then let's talk about your advertising exposure. Back then, it was like 500 ads a day. Advertising exposure now, 5,000 plus ads a day. Back in the 60s, our accomplishments were moon landing, interstate highways, nuclear power expansion. They had medical breakthroughs, early computing revelations. Nowadays, we got an app update. The algorithm's tweaked. Subscriptions are top tier. Digital ads optimizations. Are you kidding me? Like what are we doing anymore? We have like the smartest timeline currently. You literally have Alexandria's library in your pocket. Yet we're doing dumb stuff like fighting over politics or, oh my God, I can't even right now. This stuff is so frustrating sometimes. But let's get into that. I just got to say the wild thing about politics in the 60s, it wasn't that people agreed more. It's that they weren't so damn sorted. Back then, party labels didn't function like personality tests. You had conservative Democrats, liberal Republicans, and a whole lot of people who voted differently depending on the issue instead of the jersey. You could disagree without being treated like a defective human being. Politics were something you had, not something you were. Imagine that, having opinions without them becoming your entire identity. And here's the irony. Today, more people call themselves independent than ever before, but voting behavior is more predictable than it's ever been. In the 60s, fewer people used the label, but they actually voted independently. Split ticket voting was normal. Crossing party lines wasn't a moral failure. Nowadays, people pick a team once and they defend it like it's their blood type. It's not about ideas anymore. It's about loyalty. You're not allowed to think out loud. You're allowed to repeat, approve, and phrase. A big reason for that is media environment. In the 60s, news was slower, limited, and boring, which is actually kind of a compliment. Politics was about governance, not performance. Now it's 24/7 outrage, theater. The algorithm does not reward nuance. They reward anger. Calm explosions don't trend. Screaming does. Politics didn't get smarter, it got louder. And the louder it got, the dumber and more rigged it became. People didn't magically become wiser and moral back then. The system just allowed complexity. You could hold mixed views without being boxed into a tribe. Today, the system punishes nuance and rewards certainty, even with the certainty is complexity detached from reality. We didn't become more informed, we became more sorted. Politics turned into identity, disagreements turned into threats, and compromise turned into weakness. So no, the 60s weren't perfect, and no, this isn't nostalgia, it's structural difference. The system used to tolerate independent thought. Now it forms outrage and calls it engagement. Politics didn't take over our lives because people cared more. It took over because caring got monetized. And once anger became profitable, thinking became optional. And you know why everything feels like a scam now? Because it kind of is, just with better branding. Since COVID, corporations didn't just recover, they thrived. From 2020 to now, corporate profits are up roughly 60 to 70% overall, and many major companies posted record profits year after year, even while telling workers, sorry, times are tough. Apparently, times are only tough for the people actually doing the work. Weird how that happens, right? Meanwhile, worker wages barely moved. Adjusted for inflation, most workers are either flat or making less than they were before COVID, while prices for essentials exploded. Groceries, up around 25 to 30% since 2020. Rent, up 20 to 40% depending on where you live. And home prices, yeah, they're still sitting at a historical high. Health insurance? Don't even ask. It just shows up, raises the prices, refuses to explain, and leaves. But hey, corporate executives got raises, bonuses, and stock buybacks, so at least someone is doing great. So maybe you should be asking yourself why your yearly raise was garbage. And this is where the scam party really shines. Corporations blamed inflation for price hikes, then turned around and reported record margins. Not revenue, Margins. That means they weren't just charging more because things cost more. They were charging more because they could. Studies showed that a huge chunk of inflation since COVID came from corporate price increases, not wages. But somehow the headline was still, workers asking for raises are the problem. Yeah, okay, totally. The guy making $18 an hour is definitely why the CEO needed a fourth vacation home. Yeah, shut the raises? Oh, those were adorable. Average wage increases since COVID was around 3 to 5%, while inflation at its peak hit 9%. So you technically got a raise, yeah. You just lost purchasing power at the same time. It's like your boss saying, good news, we're paying you more, while quietly stealing your wallet. But corporations, stock buybacks hit hundreds of billions of dollars per year, which is just a fancy way of saying we could pay workers more, but we'd rather pump the stock and high-five ourselves. So now everything is a subscription. Every bill has a service fee, every checkout screen asks for a tip, and every company sends emails saying, we value you, right before charging you more for less. This isn't inflation, this is extraction. We didn't enter a free market, we entered a rent-everything economy, where corporations own the ladder, charges you to climb it, and then blames you for being tired at the top. That's why everything feels fake. The economy didn't break, it optimized. It optimized for shareholders, executives, and quarterly earnings calls, not human beings. Corporations are richer than ever, workers squeezed tighter than ever, and we're told this is normal, sustainable, and good for us. And if you question it, you're entitled. Yeah, entitled. The value of my own labor. Wild concept, isn't it? So, no, you're not crazy, you're not bad with money, and you're definitely not imagining it. The system didn't forget you, it priced you in. And the math should make you very uncomfortable. Let's talk about 10 years ago versus now. Corporate profit, 2014 to 2015, 1.7 trillion a year. Corporate profits now, 3.0 plus trillion a year. That's a 70% increase. CEO pay versus average worker in 2014, 300 times. CEO pay versus average workers now, 350 to 400 times. Stock buybacks in 2015, 500 billion. Stock buybacks now, 800, 900 plus billion a year. So we got profit buyback explosions and wages didn't move? Yeah, don't question the system, guys. Come on. The average wage growth in 2015 versus now, 25 to 30%. Cumulative inflation, 2015 to now, 35 to 40%. Real wage growth, flat or negative for most workers. Typical raises now, 3 to 5%. Peak inflation in 2022, 9%. You actually got a raise that still made you poorer. In 2015, for the cost of living was the baseline. Right now, plus 25 to 30%. 2015 average rent, $1,100 a month. Now their average, $1,500 to $1,700 a month. Your increase is 30 to 45%. Your home prices in 2015, your average, $290,000. Now, $420,000 plus. Increase 45 to 50%. Of course, that's based off of where you live. But let's talk about health insurance premiums. In 2015, it was $5,000 a year. Now, $8,500 a year. Your increase was 70%. Your transportation, a new car price in 2015, $33,000 for your base model, of course. Nowadays, $48,000 plus for your base model, and then even then some. That's a 45% increase. Used car prices in 2015 versus now, we're talking about 40 to 50% at its peak. That's a 40 to 50% increase at its peak. Say that to yourself and tell me that does not sound insane. But medical debt, that's the craziest one. We're talking about in 2015 when the average medical debt was $80 billion. That's a lot, right? But now medical debt, 220 plus billion. It's the leading cause of bankruptcy. It's medical bills. People are going bankrupt because of medical bills. Healthcare share income, 2015, 14%. Healthcare share income now, 18%. So where is the inflation actually coming from? Well, it's easy once you do the math. Corporate price increases. Estimates show 40 to 50% plus of post-COVID inflation driven by corporate pricing, not wages. Worker wage pressure contribution, yeah, well, that was minor by comparison. So the big reality check is that corporate profits are up massively, executive compensation was up massively, stock prices are recovered and then some, and your worker buyback power, it's down, saving rates, down, stress level, way up. So if this doesn't make you mad, I don't know what makes you mad anymore. Maybe go freaking hop on TikTok and flip through all the politic crap. I gotta wrap it up. If today's episode felt uncomfortable, good. That means you were paying attention. This wasn't about blaming individuals, picking teams, or yelling just to yell. It was about looking at the numbers, looking at reality, and admitting something feels off. Same country, worse deal. If you've been feeling like you're working harder, paying more, and getting less, you're not crazy. The math backs it up. And if nothing else, I hope this episode made you feel a little less alone in that same feeling that I'm feeling and a little more confident, saying, yeah, something's not adding up. As always, I'm just here telling you what I think seriously. If this episode hit, share it. Share it with somebody who felt the same pressure. And if it pissed you off, honestly, that probably means it matters. My name's Georgie, and I'm always thinking out loud so you don't have to.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Witch Show from What I Think Seriously to You.
WITS, The Witch Show.
All right, I think we officially upset at least 3 economists, 2 CEOs, and 1 guy who swears inflation is caused by avocado toast.
Good, dude. If they're mad, it means the math hurt us.
So what now? We fix the system? We write a letter? Start a revolution?
Nah, dude. We do what we do best. We say it out loud and let the numbers punch for us.
You really think that people get it?
Oh yeah, dude. They get it. They just need someone to say, you're not crazy.
Yeah, that's true. Same country.
Worst deal.
All right, then.
All right, Jarvis, roll the song, dude.
Same street, same flag, same tired lie. Work all day just to barely survive. Price tags jump, paychecks crawl. They say be grateful, I say nah, not at all. They raise the rent, raise the fees, raise the price, I'm just trying to breathe. Gotta raise, yeah, 2%. Inflation laughed and took it again. They say it's normal, say it's fine. Say just hustle harder, waste more time. But the math don't bend, the math don't heal. Same damn country, worst damn deal. Same country, worst deal. Work my ass off just to stand still. Record profits, empty fridge. Tell me again how this is fair, you pig. Same country, worst deal. Smile for the lie, choke on the bill. If this is winning, then what's the appeal? Same country, worst deal. Same country, worst deal. Same country, worst. CEO yacht, champagne cheers. Times are tough, yeah, for us, not peers. Stock buybacks, bonus checks, while I debate gas or groceries next. Everything's a fee, everything's rent. Even my patience is 100% spent. They sell us hope, then upsell fear. Have you tried not being poor this year? They call it freedom, call it choice, but nobody's listening to our voice. You can grind forever, break your will, still end up stuck paying someone else's bill. Same country, worst deal. Built the future, can't afford the wheel. They say relax, say trust the plan. Plan says screw the working man. Same country, worst deal. Shiny your chain, same old steel. Say it slow, make it real. Same country, worst deal. Another rap, another fee. Record profits, but none of it for me. Well, they say be patient, I say be real. You optimize the system, now choke on the deal.